Peace, everybody. Welcome to the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the safe space to reset oppression ablaze. I'm very happy and excited that you all have made a decision to join me this evening. Clearly, we're talking about people of impeccable discerning taste. Impeccable discerning taste. That's y'all. That is you. Aren't you happy? Look at you. Your parents raised you with some class. I love to see it. Listen, everybody, come on in here and everybody get yourself comfortable. You know what I'm saying? We got plenty of chairs. We got some space in the back. It's not quite standing room only, but you never know. It's a Friday. It could get turned up in here real fast. We appreciate you all making some time to join us tonight. So I've got a good show in store for you all. Did you guys know that the one defendant out of Trump and his 18 co-defendants, the one Bama not to be granted a bond was the black dude. The black dude. His name is Harrison Floyd. Harrison Floyd was the leader of Black Voices for Trump. And despite Trump's $40 million PAC war chest, in addition to the several $1,000,000 that Trump raised after the mugshot release, Trump and his cronies had left Harrison's black ass in jail. Harrison has been chilling inside of the Fulton County jail until this week. I want us to hear from this Sambo ass clown because the shit is funny. Okay, the shit is rather humorous, and it just goes to show you it does not pay to be exceptional Negro. As all mamas and daddies used to tell us when we was young, you cannot do what your white friends do because they gonna get a break and your black ass is gonna get in trouble. So I want us to take a look at that for shits and gigs. Also, in decidedly not shits and gigs tone, Fulton County Jail, yet another person has died. This would be the 16th person in the past 12 months to die behind the wall at the Fulton County Jail. What the fuck is going on? Not only there, but I want us to take a look at what happened in St. Louis, Missouri, where a second incarcerated person died at the St. Louis City Jail, the second death in as many weeks. And St. Louis actually has a jail oversight board, of which the chair, when asking questions about what happened to this incarcerated person who was found dead, they beat him up and put him out the meeting, y'all. I wish I could make this shit up. We're going to take a look at that in addition to the latest death that happened at the Fulton County Jail. The story I want to lead off with, though, is a police brutality story. And let me give spoiler alerts. The young person survived, but it is a story worth looking at. But before I do that, let me say what's up to everybody. Oh, Abby's in here. Hey, Learn Life, Abby. Thank you so much for making the time. This may not be the show. this might not be the show that you want to look at because there's some stressful elements, but it's informative. So we're gonna learn something. Learn Life, Abby. Good to see you. What's up, Franny Francais? What's up, Tony? Jasmine. What, Gwan? I see Latif in here. Hello. What's up, Eric? Thank you so much for making time. Donnie, appreciate your time spent at last night's AMA. We had a good discussion. What's going on to Wendy? What's up? What's up? Oh shit. Oh, Sweary Fairy. And there goes Shirley. What's up, Shirley? I'd love to see you in here. Big up to the good sis Shanette. Shanette had made an appearance in a recent live chat, so I just appreciate y'all being here. Big up to 40J Blaze. Thank you so much for coming through. Andre. We got okay. Well, I told you how I feel about the new the new names. Just be sure everybody cool, Latif. Just make sure everybody cool. But Andre, thank you so much for making time. I certainly appreciate it. Northern Witch DD is in the building. Northern Witch, say what's up to hubby and the family for me. Thank you so much for being here. There go my son Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. What's up, Nat A? Pet the pooch for me, Nat A. Shout out to Kane. In the building, we always love our Fire Fam pups. And I know some of y'all are cat people. We're not going to hold that against y'all. This is a dog people channel. But no, cats are cool. I don't have nothing against cats. Cats are all right. But anyway, let me get into the story, y'all, because Will, if you could please pop up that article, because this is a content warning for police brutality. As I said before, the child involved in this story survived, but they didn't survive without getting beat up. And it is a mad story. So this is coming out of Delaware. Okay. Now, gang, I know we got a lot of Gen Xers in here, right? And, for our people that are not quite Gen X, we used to be able to get away with, a variety of different pranks. Well, I'm mainly talking about white kids. Well, I mean, because me and my friends wasn't doing this shit. We wasn't doing ding dong gone or whatever, ringing people's doorbells and hauling ass. But I did know kids my age that were doing such things in addition to toilet papering. That what this is going to be more reflective of where I grew up. Not only was the white kids toilet papering people's houses, but I lived in a place that had some proximity to farms. So these kids would go cow tipping. Craziness, right? Craziness. They would knock over mailboxes with baseball bats. I mean, wildin'. But this story is not quite that. So I'm going to take you to, I believe this is Newcastle, Delaware. Okay. And you see the headline there from the New York Post. It says Delaware trooper suspended for allegedly beating a 15-year-old who ding dong ditched his house. Ding dong ditched, right? Literally ringing the doorbell and hauling ass and laughing hysterically, as I imagine kids do. But overall, not a crime, not a criminal act, certainly not anything deserving of police violence. Oh, but the child received some violence. So the young man, 15 years old, his name, he's being identified in news outlets by being named Jayden. And Jayden was out with a bunch of friends. And unbeknownst to them, when they decided to ding dong ditch, ring the doorbell of someone's house in their neighborhood and took off running, they didn't know that they were ringing the doorbell of a Delaware state trooper. And the state trooper apparently was alerted to the ding dong ditch prank, a very harmless prank, could be perceived as annoying, but nothing criminal, yeah? The Delaware state troopers spent close to an hour trying to find these kids. And when they found them, I have to give another content warning. Will, if you could, get the video queued up. Because what you're about to see, these pictures that you're about to see of the injuries that this young man sustained are truly ghastly, right? And made the more surprising, perhaps to some, maybe not surprising to all, that this was a young white kid that got beat the fuck up. I said they only reserve this kind of police brutality for, darker shades of brown and black. You do not see young white boys getting this level of police brutality. Usually, if not, I would say ever, but apparently not ever. Never say never. So here it goes. I want us to pick up the story coming out of Delaware. And the injuries that this kid sustained includes a fractured orbital bone. He suffered a concussion. He suffered bruises all over his body, front and back. You got to hear it and see it to believe it. So, Will, let's go on to the package. Let's check it out.
15-year-old Ellesmere, Delaware boy is home from the hospital recovering from some very serious injuries he said came at the hands of a Delaware state trooper. And tonight, that trooper has been suspended. Pictures of the swollen and beaten face of a 15-year-old Ellesmere, Delaware boy making the social media rounds. The post forcing the Delaware State Police to respond and take action.
He has a long road ahead of him, physically and mentally.
Tara Murphy says her nephew, who we are not identifying by name, was assaulted by that uniformed state trooper Monday night. She wants people to see the pictures to show what happened.
They did decide to play Ding Dong Ditch, Doorbell Dixie. I'm sure we've all grown up playing that game.
The game took a turn when, unfortunately, she says her nephew and 3 friends unknowingly rang the ring doorbell of a Delaware state trooper. And a little while later, she says that trooper and a partner tracked down the boys along South Union Street near the Wilmington-Ellesmere border.
State troopers, which don't patrol the area of Ellesmere, stopped my nephew and his friends, arrested them, and that is when my nephew was beaten.
She says troopers had to call an ambulance and took the boy to Nemours Hospital with a broken orbital bone, a concussion, along with scrapes and bruises. We asked the Delaware State Police about the incident. In a statement, they say through an internal body-worn camera review, the state trooper who is accused of the assault has been suspended while the investigation is pending. Now, as her nephew recovers mentally and physically, this family wants to know exactly who did this.
In the coming days, right now, we would like to have the name of the trooper. They have still refused to share the name with us, with the public. They're keeping that under wraps. We want justice for my nephew.
And that boy was set to start his sophomore year in high school next week. However, his family says his surgery will prevent him from starting school on time. The Delaware State Police are also investigating whether there was a failure to intervene by another state trooper, Sheba, who was on the scene at the time of the incident.
There are bruises all over his body. There's bruises on his shoulder. There's bruises on his chest. There's bruises on the back of his neck. He was roughed up on the ground while handcuffed, and he also was given a blind haymaker punch by a state trooper while he was shining a flashlight into Jayden's eyes.
I'm reading the comments from the chat. Schultze, you see that shit? Shirley, you see that shit? Tasia, you saw that shit? Infinite said they need to put the state troopers in jail. Put them under the fucking jail. And to be clear, the state trooper still has not been named. Jayden's family does not know the name of the trooper that literally beat the shit out of a 15-year-old for ringing a doorbell and running away. The fact that these Delaware state troopers made the time to search down these children, you would think after 45 minutes to an hour of looking for a group of juvenile, maybe they would be like, this isn't really worth our time. Maybe we have some actual police work to do. Absolutely not. These cops are out here to settle scores. They got vendettas. You cannot cross police in any way, shape, or form because they are looking to exact revenge. And that's exactly what happened to this 15-year-old. You guys, I first saw that package and all I kept saying was, God damn, they beat the hell out of this kid. Literally, this kid. Okay? And you saw the aunt speaking on behalf of the family. Listen, y'all, when white folks can't get answers, it's over. Okay, forget it. Forget all about it. And I was curious, whether or not there was a White Lives Matter rally happening tonight in Newcastle County, Delaware, in Ellesmere, Delaware. Is there White Lives Matter? Is there no justice, no peace? Is there justice for Jayden? I'm being sarcastic here, but I'm not, because this is what we need everybody to understand. Even those who don't think that they or their loved ones would be on the receiving end of police brutality for something as innocuous as a teenage prank, something that was absolutely not criminal. The problem is, what's that infamous saying? When they came for group A, I said nothing. When they came for group B, I said nothing. And now they're coming for me. And who is here to speak up for me? These systems of power, especially the police state, they are there to corral and keep non-whites and poors in place, right? But they understand that their powers are pretty much all reaching. They can reach out and touch whomever they want, I guess assuming that there is not a significant level of connection to actual people in power, right? And they can just do whatever. And when they start beating white kids like this, the rest of the whites need to pay attention. Seriously, the rest of the whites need to be paying attention because they're only going to reserve that brutality for blacks and browns, but for so long until they feel as though they have this power to do it to any and everyone, which includes innocent white children. And I'm not usually the one to speak up for innocent white children, but let me speak up for this young man. There's nothing that Jayden did to deserve that level of brutality that he received. And per the package, you heard that a second Delaware state trooper is also under investigation for failing to intervene. You think that's a training issue? I mean, do adults truly need to be trained that they need to A, not beat the shit out of kids who are not resisting and who are not being violent or accused of doing anything violent? And B, you might want to intervene when you witness child abuse. Like, if there is a child, and 15-year-old is absolutely a child to me, if you are witnessing a child be violently assaulted, who was by all accounts handcuffed, you don't step in, you don't say nothing. You didn't see what happened to George Floyd's cohorts. You missed that part. That this is not a training issue. This is a character issue. This is a black soul issue. I mean, not like good black soul, not like, sliding the family stone. Not, I'm not talking about that kind of, and I even like to say black when referring, to the darkness. That's the way that anti-black rhetoric creeps into a lot of our vernacular. But you understand what I'm saying? Like, something's the matter with you. I don't know if there's something mentally wrong with you. I don't know if there's something spiritually wrong with you, something matter with your character. But if you're able to commit that kind of violence on a teenager and witness that kind of violence upon a teenager, this is not a training issue. You are fucked up. You're a fucked up individual and you need to be punished. Now, it is not clear, though I assume that this Delaware state trooper has been suspended with pay, right? That's my guess. That would be my guess. Absolutely suspended with pay. But the Delaware state trooper legion, as it were, has long had a big problem with all kinds of things. And to be in the interest of fairness, I do not know the race of these state troopers, though I can guess. Even though sometimes I play guess the race and I have been wrong. I don't, you know what? I don't know. I can't say. Well, if you could pop up the DOJ press release for me. I was just trying to find, things that would maybe give us a clue as to the culture of Delaware state troopers. And in 2004, the Department of Justice won a lawsuit alleging that the Delaware state troopers routinely discriminated against African American applicants. Now, all cops are bastards. Black cop, white cop, Hispanic cop, Asian cop, all of them, none of them ain't shit. But it seems as though Delaware state troopers, at least per 2004, and let's be clear, in 2004, this was George Bush's Department of Justice, right? So they had to been real fucked up for the Bush DOJ to come after the Delaware state troopers. But anyway, what they found is that the Delaware state troopers, in their entrance examinations for entry level applicants, on something called the alert test, the way that they were gauging the reading and comprehension scores of African American applicants was, quote, artificially high. So the DOJ found that this practice of arbitrarily setting these entrance exam passing scores as what they described as artificially high was hindering Black applicants from joining the force. And what it went on to say is that the Delaware state troopers, violated Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. And it found that even some of these Black applicants trying to join the Delaware state troopers and who were denied because their scores were not deemed high enough, Some of these black folks went on to join such esteemed law enforcement agencies like the US Secret Service. So it's not like they wasn't quote qualified to be cops. No, they was qualified to be pigs, but the Delaware State Trooper said we don't want no darkies, on in our piggy ranks. So we're gonna set these test scores or set these these passing scores as artificially high per the Department of Justice. So the Department of Justice actually won that lawsuit and found that the Delaware State Troopers were guilty of actively discriminating against specifically black applicants. Now, clearly, you could take that down, Will. Now, clearly, this young man in Delaware who got beat is not black. But it just goes to show you that anybody can get it, even fans in the stands. These guns is a son, don't catch a tan with your man. I wanted to bring y'all that story because I need us to continue to spread the word, spread the message that they beating and killing black kids today. They will be beating and killing white kids tomorrow. There is something inherently bad about the institution of American policing, and no matter how many hundreds of millions of dollars that get spent on recruiting cops, retaining cops, training cops, building cop cities across the country, this is what police are there to do. They are there to target, they are there to harass, they are there to be fascist, they are there to, and to be clear, I don't even think this young man, Jayden, was even charged with anything. He wasn't even charged with anything. His mama got a call and told her that her son was in the hospital and they need to come pick him up. I don't think Jayden even got charged with anything. So he got an ass beaten for what? For what exactly? For ding dong ditch? Is that what we doing? Is that what we doing? Let me take a break. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to get to my next story here in a second. Thank you so much to everybody that is coming true and leaving us some gifts. Thank you so much to Latif and Infinite Content. Latif ran us some bucks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whose birthday shout out is it? It is Shirley's birthday. Hold on. Everybody, hold the phone. Hold the phone. I need to see them flame emojis up. I need to see the birthday cake emojis up. I need to see them party favors emojis up. Shirley is one of our OGs. We love the shit out of Shirley. Shirley is one of my, actually, she might be the only Say Hey All-Star by herself. Shirley will call up. I just wanted to say hey. Hey, girl. Happy birthday, Virgo Queen. We love to see it. Happy birthday to Shirley. Thank you so much, Latif, for that. Infinite Content ran us some bucks and says that you can't intervene if you doing it, Kim. Talking about the observing Delaware State Trooper, I assume they're Infinite Content. You right, because he probably was beating a little boy too. Piece of shit. Can you imagine? I need to know names. I'm like the auntie and the mama. I gotta know. I gotta know. Was it Caleb or was it Carlos? Like who beat this child? I need name, rank, serial number, badge. I need race. Most importantly, I need to know, was this a white on white violence thing? And again, is the White Lives Matter rally going down in Delaware tonight? Somebody tell me. Is anybody going to be out there doing some justice for Jayden? I doubt it. I doubt that. So anyway, hey, okay, yes. Thanks everybody. Holly and Wendy, did I already say what's up? If I didn't, what's up? What's up, Nessa? Thank you so much for your support. Hey, speaking of support, Craig S. I don't like to put out people's all their government names because I don't want y'all to be guilty by association by the shit that I say on here. So thank you, Craig S., for signing up to become a new patron. We appreciate the support. Please support us. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. You can support the channel in a myriad of ways, including through super chats, through channel memberships, and you can give us material support. Cash App, $BIDWKB, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB. Let me please remind y'all, this is a Black woman-led channel. We are INDEPENDENT. Do you know what that mean, man? That means we need money. That's what that means. It means we need some Skrilla. So break us off in ways big and small if you are able to, please and thank you. We certainly appreciate that. Don't forget to give the channel a thumbs up and subscribe. We've got some new subscribers. I think we've got some of our BPM remixers heeded the call and decided to support the channel. So thank you guys for that. My next story, guys, it's going to be a doozy. So let me just preface and give all the content warnings because it definitely involves people being killed by the state whilst in state custody. And this continues to happen. And it really continues to happen across the country. Seriously, if you guys pay attention to your local news, you will hear it and it'll be reported very casually. You know, so-and-so county is reporting a death, you know, in jail of an inmate. No autopsy has been performed yet, and police are not saying much. But you know, the 30-something-year-old male usually was found unresponsive in their cell. Like it's a very pat response when mainstream media outlets are covering deaths in custody. And it is a sad reality that far too many folks in this country have been accustomed to hearing. It's, you know, we hear it, and a lot of times it doesn't even register. And to be honest, we don't even know how many people die in jails every single year because the federal government does not collect this information. And depending on the jurisdiction, they may or may not be publicly reporting this information, whether or not in custody deaths are reported at all, right? Fulton County in Georgia, the Fulton County Jail has been notorious, dare I say, always, right? But there has been a number of stories to come out of there over the past year that indicate that the conditions there are inhumane, that they are deplorable, that people literally are not surviving these conditions, including the story of a young man who was literally eaten alive by bed bugs while being incarcerated in Fulton County. And, you know, there was a story to come out over the weekend, tragically detailing another person who has passed away. Okay. And I want us to take a look at this package. This package is coming from 13 WMAZ News. Okay. And we're talking about a young person who was experiencing a mental health crisis, who was being initially held without bond, but it turns out they eventually did receive a bond, but their family was never notified and never given the opportunity to come get their loved one from out of the Fulton County Jail. And there's an interesting twist. Maybe interesting is not the right word, a notable twist, that this person who died actually registered a complaint about the conditions that they were being subjected to just days before they were found dead at the Fulton County Jail. So I want us to check out this package. And like I said, content warning, because some of this is not going to be easy to hear, everybody. So let's take a listen.
Court records show a 34-year-old Samuel Lawrence had been in jail here for 8 months when he died, and now his family wants answers.
I thought maybe it would be something like I left the door open at the house or something like that. That's what I was looking to hear, but it was death.
Frank Richardson says he was driving to church in Athens on Sunday when he got the call that his son, Samuel Lawrence, had died in custody at the Fulton County Jail on Saturday.
So what I did, pull aside the road and started crying.
Lawrence had been in custody for a single second-degree arson charge since last December. Fulton County court records show a judge denied him bond after his arrest, citing a likelihood to reoffend and a criminal history.
He was just bipolar, but that's beside he's still a human being.
Court records show after 109 days without being indicted, Lawrence's public defender was able to get a $30,000 bond granted in April. Lawrence's dad says they had no idea. So did you know that there was a bond for him?
No, I didn't know. I never knew.
Earlier this month, his attorney filed for a reduced bond, and a hearing was scheduled for next month. When Lawrence died, he still hadn't been indicted. According to the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, Lawrence was found unresponsive in his cell Saturday, and he died at Grady Hospital. His uncle Eugene Hall Jr. says Lawrence filed a federal civil rights complaint against the Fulton County Jail days before he died. In the complaint, Lawrence claims deputies used excessive force on him, including while he was in handcuffs.
The officers, that they starved him, that they didn't give him the medicine that he was asking for. He was crying out for help and never received it. They turned deaf eye, deaf ear, all towards Samuel.
So far, the sheriff's office hasn't commented on Lawrence's complaint.
There's no justice, there's no peace. We looking for justice for Samuel Lawrence.
I want his justice done right.
The Fulton County Sheriff's Office tells us Atlanta police will investigate the in-custody death, while the Fulton County Medical Examiner's Office is performing an autopsy to determine how Lawrence died. Reporting from the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, I'm Tracy A. McPeer.
13 WMAZ News there with the package. I actually thought that was pretty well done. I appreciate hearing the voices directly of Samuel Lawrence's family members, especially his father and his uncle there as well. Tracy Grenville, thank you so much for your super chat. Tracy says ACAB, yup, all cops are bastards, all COs are bastards. And, we can do the autopsy. We can try to figure out what happened to Samuel. We know exactly what the fuck happened to Samuel. Samuel was a victim of brutality and neglect. His medical needs were not being met while he was in the custody of the state, who is charged at minimum with keeping him alive. They need to be keeping him alive, keeping him in good health. If he's being denied food and medicine, that sounds like torture. That sounds like the conditions for depraved indifference to some sort of murder or manslaughter. That is absolutely horrific. And we're talking about the 16th such death in a year. I believe that Samuel Lawrence is the 8th or 9th person to die in the Fulton County Jail this year in 2023. But over the past 12 months, we're talking about 16 persons total. Well, actually, let me even rephrase about that, because no information released through the state can be trusted, right? So it's 16 that they're willing to admit to. My guess is that there's probably more. And it's not just Fulton County Jail. It's Rikers Island. It's the Fairfax County Detention Center. It's the DC City Jail. It's the Los Angeles County Jail. Like, this is a nationwide systemic problem where I believe that inmates are being murdered, either with intentional actions or through neglectful indifference about the conditions that they're being subjected to. But it's murder, right? It is a crime. It is a criminal. It is a violation of human rights. It's a violation of civil rights. But because we're talking about people behind the wall, once they have been put in the criminal injustice system, in the wider viewpoint of mainstream America, these people are no longer human. Do you guys recall, was it last week when we were talking about the dozens of cases that have been dismissed in Shelby County out there in Memphis, connected to those 5 killer cops who murdered Tyree Nichols? And the fucking anchor man got on TV with a straight fucking face talking about some bad guys are being put back on the streets because of these rogue cops. It's like, bad guys. You're talking about people that haven't been to court? People who haven't had their charges adjudicated by a judge or a jury? Oh, bad guys, huh? And I feel terrible for Samuel Lawrence and his family. He was somebody, per his father, experiencing a mental health condition. He was bipolar. I don't know the circumstances in which Samuel was charged with second-degree arson, but clearly I am not well apprised of how the judicial system works in Georgia. I don't see how the fuck you can be in jail for 8 months with no indictment. So what does that mean? The police simply charged him. He was arrested and then placed in jail. And then what? We're waiting for an indictment coming down from a grand jury? 8 months? The better part of a year? And for his public defender to be able to secure a bond for him but yet his loved ones weren't made aware of that. So he could have been potentially rescued, bonded out, but didn't nobody say nothing? Why? Does Fulton County Jail get money for keeping inmates locked up? Pfft, you guys know the answer to that. And like I said, it is not just Fulton County. I want us to go to St. Louis because there has been another death reported in jail. Brendan L. Yeah, I'm calling you by your government. Brendan L. Thank you so much for your Cash App support. We certainly appreciate that. St. Louis is a place that I know pretty well. Like I lived there for a stretch. I adore Black Missourians. I did not adore Missouri. Okay. The racism is palpable. Not to say that Maryland's not racist, it's racist in a different way. The way you feel racism in St. Louis and in Missouri, it hit different. It hit different, especially if you're not from there. I said, oh shit, this is bad and terrible. But yes, the St. Louis police, a notorious band of thugs. And I can imagine that those who are tasked with keeping folks locked up at the St. Louis City Jail, equal band of thugs. And I want us to pick up the story. Let's see. I have a package there, Will. Let's cue up the package. And I believe this is from Fox 2 News because at the St. Louis City Jail, they experienced the second death in as many weeks. 2 deaths in 2 weeks. Two deaths in 2 weeks. Two. And this is in the face of the commissioner of the St. Louis City Jail, who was appointed by the Black woman mayor, Mayor Tashana Jones, appointed this city commissioner, this commissioner of the St. Louis City Jail over 2 years ago under the promises of reform and improved conditions. Yet activists say ain't shit improved, ain't shit been reformed, ain't nothing no better. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. I want us to take a look at this package because what is happening in St. Louis City jails is abhorrent. And there is a jail oversight committee made up of civilians that is tasked to receive complaints, hear complaints, and to be made aware of the conditions and other goings-ons happening within the jail. But you all might be shocked in a very non-shocked, sarcastic way. You all might be shocked to find out that the oversight board is not being kept in the loop about injuries and now most recently these deaths that have occurred inside of the St. Louis City Jail. I want us to pick up the story. This is coming from Fox 2 News. I was shocked because St. Louis mainstream media is not good. That's why we're actually going to hear a package, or I'm not a package per se, but there's an article from an independent media source out there that I trust. The Riverfront Times does a very good job of covering the streets of St. Louis, and I appreciate their reporting on this issue, which I'm going to get to here very shortly. Oh shit! Thank you, Quaker Socialist, Quaker Anarchist. Thank you so much for your support. I certainly appreciate it. Will, let's go to the Fox 2 package where you guys are going to hear from, I believe, either one of the members of the jail oversight board or the chair himself. So let's pick it up from there.
We've confirmed St. Louis police and the medical examiner's office are investigating the inmate death Sunday of 32-year-old Carlton Bernard.
His mother says she's struggling to get answers, and the chairman of the jail oversight board is shocked he had to learn about it from me.
It is alarming.
Reverend Daryl Gray is chairman of the Detention Facility Oversight Board.
We can't even find out that someone has died in their custody.
Court records show Bernard has been locked up since June on an assault charge. His mother hired Clayton attorney Mark Pedroli, who told us 32 years old is far too young to die in the custody of the government. Like all in-custody deaths deserve, Mr. Bernard's death will be investigated vigorously by my law firm. Bernard died 2 days prior to Tuesday's hostage crisis. A 73-year-old corrections officer was rescued by SWAT after a 2-hour standoff. Jail officials said the attacking inmates are known troublemakers.
The only demand that I actually heard on the radio was for pizza.
Former inmate James Reisner says he noticed the jail become more dangerous as staffing dropped.
There's been times where I've been here where, when it first opened, where there was 2 staff to every unit. Now it's just 1.
He says that causes a ripple of problems.
The inmates now don't have no respect for the guards, and the guards don't like their jobs. So they're not really trying to do their jobs. You know, they let a lot of stuff pass them. You know, they act like they don't see a lot of stuff.
Reisner said it's also common for inmates to find out about violence and deaths through the rumor mill rather than from officials. Reverend Gray says those officials need to be more open, especially with Gray's board tasked with oversight.
Definitely, we should have been informed. The same way we should have been informed yesterday about a hostage situation.
How'd you find out about that?
Through the media. You're doing your job. We're asking the commissioner to do her job.
He pointed out a portion of Tuesday's Zoom when the commissioner claimed jail improvements since the 2021 riots.
If you notice, for record, it has been over a couple years since anything has occurred here.
That statement made as Fox 2 was still working on confirming Sunday's jail death. Gray says the Oversight Board should have already been notified in order to begin its inquiry.
We have qualified staff as part of the Oversight Board. We're not talking simply 9 civilians. We're also talking about at least a half a dozen staff who have been hired by the city of St. Louis to do this job.
For the Fox Files, I'm Chris Hayes.
Yeah, that's from Fox 2 News out there in St. Louis. What a story. And woo, that was whoa. There's a lot there. First of all, our condolences to the young man who lost his life there, 32 years old, 32 years old. There ain't no fucking way that a 32-year-old died from any sort of natural causes in that jail. So we can dead all that speculation right now. Okay. I hope that the young man's family attorney gets to the bottom of the shit. And there is that. But in terms of what was set forth regarding staffing shortages at the jail, and for the speaker there to say that the correctional officers let a lot of shit go, they overlook a lot of shit. What are we overlooking here? Starvation? Did you hear what the city commissioner said? That woman, Jennifer Clemens Abdullah, I think she said that the demand that were being made by the hostage situation, Jesus, we didn't even touch on the hostage situation at the jail, where a 73-year-old correctional officer was being, nigga, what is you doing still working the jails at 73? The staffing shortages are that terrible, huh? That y'all keeping Pop on the job by his, Jesus? But for her to say with a straight face that, well, and for the reporter to repeat this, where he was at, according to jail officials, the people who, held the correctional officer hostage were known troublemakers. Known to who? According to these lying ass motherfuckers from the jail? And for the commissioner to be like, oh, well, the only demand I'm aware that they made was for pizza. Well, that tells me that they're fucking hungry. Like, are we being serious? If these incarcerated folks are willing to subject themselves to potentially more time, harsher treatment by the COs inside because they dared make this, I can't even call it a violent stand. I don't know what the fuck happened. Doesn't sound like the 73-year-old CO was injured or harmed, because they would have mentioned that. But if their quote only demand is pizza, what kind of food are they being fed, if any? What is their overall condition? If they're sick, are they being tended to? Doesn't sound like it, because the jail is short-staffed. So the COs are overlooking a lot of shit. What, like human rights? Like what are we really saying here? What are we really saying? Will, if you could cue up that clip from the Riverfront Times because activists in St. Louis are on it. Let me give all the credit to people on the ground in St. Louis. St. Louis is one of those towns where they are about it, right? Before Ferguson and since Ferguson, the people of St. Louis and St. Louis County, because the St. Louis metro area is an interesting one because you have St. Louis City proper, and then you have all of these smaller, teeny tiny towns that ring the city, right? And on the north side of St. Louis County is where the black folks live. Ferguson, Jennings, you know what I'm saying? What's some other black areas up there? Up St. Charles Rock Road. Go up the Rock Road, and you'll run into a lot of black areas, right? But activists held a rally outside of the Justice Center. Woo! That is misnamed. that is deeply misnamed. So I want us to hear from the folks that put together a rally outside of the jail after this latest inmate death. But when we come back from this package, you guys are going to be blown away by what I tell you happened on the inside to one of the members of that jail oversight board. Not that gentleman, but a different member of the jail oversight board experienced some harsh treatment when they merely asked the question. But first, let's take a look at what the activists were doing outside.
Safety needs to hold him self-accountable for the conditions inside of this jail. Every single member of the Board of Aldermen who was not standing out here with us, demanding answers, demanding not just transparency, but radical transparency. I remember when this administration was running and they said, we're going to be transparent. We are going to change the culture of this city. We are going to change the culture of the police department. We are going to change the culture inside of jails. We are going to re-envision public safety. And here we are, 2 years later, and it might as well be lighter. But that's because I haven't seen a single change. Not in the police department, not in public safety, not in this jail. And while I'm here, let me go and mention the Detention Facilities Oversight Board. We literally organized and rallied and cried out and called alders and we forced. We said we demand oversight of these jails because, again, we are all better than the worst thing we have ever done. We said we demand transparency and accountability, and what has happened? Not only has the warden stood in the way of every effort of transparency, the director of public safety has done the same, and I have yet to see a statement from the mayor of St. Louis offering any type of transparency or accountability. So we're going to continue to be here saying no more, not one more death, fire the warning, no more jail death until they decide to make change. And we're not asking, we're demanding, right?
That clip there, shot and reported on from the Riverfront Times, RFT. If you're not following the Riverfront Times on social media, please do so. They do a really good job of covering St. Louis culturally and the arts sector there in St. Louis, but they do a good job of reporting on social justice issues as well. And speaking of, Will, if you could cue up that Riverfront Times article for me, please, because that was happening on the outside where the activists were demanding transparency and accountability. They're not asking, they were demanding for transparency and accountability. And on the inside, that same night, the headline reads, Jail Oversight Board member arrested after asking about detainee death. And you see the picture there of a black gentleman, a black person, lumped up, a little scuffed and scratched, And Bagheera is very upset about the situation. I totally understand. So hold on, let me get shit. Let me get to the meat and potatoes of it, because it's actually a pretty stunning account. And the person's name is Janice, Janis Mensah, Mensah. Janice Mensah took this photo at the hospital shortly after being forcibly removed from the Justice Center. It says the chair of St. Louis's Jail Oversight Board was forcibly removed from the Justice Center last night after the leaders of the facility refused to answer his questions, or rather their questions, about the most recent death there. It says Janice Mensah says that when the board members first heard of the detainee death, which is the second in 2 weeks, they went to the jail to try to learn more. And it goes on to say, it says, Mensah chairs the city's Detention Facility Oversight Board, the chair of the board, which is a group of civilians that is tasked with investigating problems at the jail. So this is what happened when Mensah went inside. Quote, he said, or rather they, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to not get the pronouns right. But they said, quote, I didn't go there planning to stay, says Mensah. I just asked them a few questions and they ignored me, end quote. Mensah then sat in the lobby, which was around, and Mensah sat in the lobby, and it says around 9 p.m., jail staffers called the police. I'm sorry, called the police for what? Quote, they pulled me off the bench pretty forcibly, says Mensah. They said, stop resisting, but I wasn't moving at all. The article goes on to say, it says this morning, Mensah says that that their face still hurts from being thrown to the ground right there in the jail lobby. Quote, they never read me my rights or at any point in the night. He said, I can't tell you if I was even arrested. I said, I can't tell you if I was arrested or caught and released or whatever, or what even happened, Mensah says. Did I mention y'all this is the chair of the Jail Oversight Committee? It says increasing the oversight board and other jail reformers. It says increasingly the oversight board and other jail reformers have focused their ire on Mayor Tashara Jones, who appointed Jennifer Clemens Abdullah 2 years ago, which was she was a white presenting lady. I don't know if she white, maybe she married a Muslim. I don't know how she got Abdullah, but she looked white to me. But yeah, it says, quote, it says this is definitely an escalation. Oversight board member Mike Milton tells the RFT. You think? You think if the oversight board chair can't even go to the jail to ask the question, hey, somebody else died here, the second death in 2 weeks. Can we find out what's going on? They said, nope, we calling the police and we're going to have your black ass forcibly removed. If the police need to throw you on the ground to get you the fuck out of this lobby, if they need to rough you up, if they need to take you to jail with no charges, if they fail to Mirandize you, that's your answer. You don't get no answers. And this is the case with far too many jails across the country, you guys. Overwhelmingly, It is Black folks. Overwhelmingly, it is disabled people. Overwhelmingly, it is the most vulnerable and marginalized that are losing their lives behind the wall. And I won't say nobody cares because clearly those people outside of the St. Louis Justice Center, they cared enough to rally. We know that there is a number of organizations that look out for incarcerated people that are being held at Rikers. You know, big up New York City, big up to the activists in Mississippi that organize and try to help the folks locked up in prisons like such as Parchman. But this is everywhere. This is everywhere. And as much as police brutality and police violence is a problem, this violence and murder, a variation of lynching, I would say, is a systemic, massive crisis for those who end up incarcerated because they have no rights. They have no rights and nobody cares. I won't say nobody. Very few, not enough people care about the conditions that people are being subjected to. And that is how the criminal injustice system in America goes, right? It's those bad people's problem until they beating up on your 15-year-old white nephew until the police is, right? It's those criminals. They get what they get. Okay, but police lie and fabricate and make up evidence, plant evidence, are not truthful all the time. So how can we even say authoritatively that people simply because they are in jail are guilty of anything? As much as you can, what I want you to do is please do what you can to support those that are doing jail support for incarcerated people, right? But what I want you to do, I don't want you to ignore these stories, and I'm not suggesting that y'all do, but I'm just saying in the course of the news cycle, with all this fucking crazy shit going on with Trump, with all the quote unquote bigger news, don't let these stories fly under your personal radar, right? And again, the way that we can try to change hearts and minds is to convince those in our spheres, those in our circles who may not have a lot of compassion for those incarcerated. Again, the onus is on us to try to humanize these people as much as possible, to try to make those that don't view incarcerated people as worthy of having rights or having life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Like, we have to tell them just because they're in jail don't mean they did something. That just means they got arrested. As corrupt and fucked up as we know American policing is, the police cannot be trusted with their account of a given event because they'll lie. They will lie. They will make up shit. They will plant evidence. They will fabricate. They will back each other up in their lies. Like, all cops are bastards. We cannot assume that the police are a benevolent force for good, as I continue to say. And I know nobody here thinks that because I don't see how you could be here and think that. But what's our job, everybody? Our job is to tell the others. Our job is to tell the others. Okay. So yeah. So anyway, I hope that we actually talk more about what is going on behind the wall, and especially with all of these horrific deaths of otherwise young people, of otherwise healthy people, even if they weren't healthy, even if they weren't physically able or had some sort of mental illness crisis, they don't deserve to be sitting in jail 6 months, 8 months, not facing indictment, not receiving a bond, and generally not being given a fuck about. But that story in Fulton County, I definitely want us to keep an eye on that because that sounds exceedingly shaky. The fact that the young man, I believe what they say his name was Stephen Lawrence, the fact that he had filed a federal complaint and days later was found dead, that's extremely suspicious. And any correctional officer that had any contact with him needs to be considered a suspect. I know the medical examiner has not yet quite released the results of the autopsy, et cetera, et cetera. That shit is not a fucking coincidence. He too was in his 30s. There's no reason why he is dead. unless somebody took his life via intentional actions to take his life or via neglect. Murder is still murder. Let me take a break here real quick. What's up, Valley Girls? I know, baby. I know I'm furious. Furious. Shift paradigms. Come through, Donnie. Yeah, Feminist News Network. Yes, all of that. Like, we have to change heart. Like, it sounds trite, but it's real. Like, we have to change hearts and minds. The news is not going to humanize these people, our people. They're gonna do what that punk ass Anchorman did last week, and all those bad guys being released back on the. What the fuck are you even talking about, man? James, you see this bullshit? Make me so damn mad. Anyway, well, okay, we've got a nifty 60 in here with us. I will certainly take it. Let's make those likes pop on the vids, everybody. Oh, y'all. Announcement. Well, maybe I should be. I don't. Even if it changes, it'll be fine. We may have a date. We, meaning me, Ear Doctor, and Jared Ball. We may have a date getting close to be firmed up with Dr. Cornell West over on Black Power Media. Are we talking about the issues? Absolutely not. we will be talking about music. We will be talking about specifically Black American music, man, and the way that it has shaped Dr. West, who he is, his life, how he sees the world. It is a conversation I am really excited about. Now, to be clear, I had the opportunity to interview Dr. West. This was every bit of 10 years ago. It was a long time ago. And Dr. West is one of the coolest youngins I have ever come across. Nice fella. And to have the opportunity to speak with him about Black music, because the man is always making a music reference, right? The man is always making a music reference. Well, I want to dig deeper into that. What was the music that Dr. West heard growing up in his household? What was the music that shaped his youth out there in Sacramento? What was the music of his collegiate years, of his post undergrad years, as he was on his way to becoming Dr. Cornell West? What was on play? What 12 inches did 12-inch records? what 12-inch albums did Dr. West have playing in his off-campus apartment when he was trying to get his doctorate on? These are the questions that I want to know. What inspires him now? What does he think about the 50th anniversary of hip hop? Is this something to celebrate? I don't fucking know. But anyway, we're going to get all the answers from Dr. West coming up in the first half of September. Let me not name a date just yet, just in case some shit change. But per Dr. Jared and the Ear Doctor, this is very close to being a thing. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you have all your notifications and bells set over on Black Power Media. Please and thank you. Shout out to all our Remix fam as well. And lastly, did I already tell y'all to like, share, subscribe, all the goofy stuff? I think I did. Hold on, I have to burp. I actually have to pee. I'm trying to hold it together. Yeah, it's not typical that I have to get up and use the bathroom in the middle of the show, but that is absolutely what's happening today. But that's okay, because this next story is not going to be that long, because I know I bummed y'all out with the last story. So hopefully we can raise the mood up a little bit and get some laughs off from this story, because so it was announced today that Trump's Fulton County charges, his Fulton County trial, is going to be televised. That shit's going to be televised. They're going to put the Trump trial on television for everybody to see. Those of a certain age, if y'all thought people watched OJ, no, it's everybody and their mama is going to be tuned in to this Trump trial. Please and believe it. And this might be the only one that we will get to see on television, because his federal trials will not be televised. They do not broadcast federal court proceedings. You will get them good courtroom sketches, and that's about it. But to see Trump and his weave sitting up at the defendant's table, I think a lot of people are going to tune in to see, right? And does it matter if Trump is found guilty or not? That's debatable. Is it going to change his standing amongst would-be Republican presidential voters? Not likely. Okay. But it will be a spectacle. And as I said, Trump is bringing America down, and I'm fucking here for it. America's my enemy. Trump is also my enemy, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So I'm rooting for Trump to bring America down. I'm not rooting for Trump in any other respect. But not everybody was rooting for Trump's co-defendants there in Fulton County, Georgia, to get out of jail. Will, where shall we go here? Let's go. What did I send you? Did I send you the Hill, or did I send you the Atlanta Journal-Constitution? I'm sorry. What article do I have up for you, sir? My apologies.
The Hill.
Word up. Let me pull that Joan up real quick. So his name is Harrison Floyd. Harrison Floyd was accused of trying to intimidate, bully a pair of Black women election workers, a mother and daughter, amongst other things. He's caught up in the RICO trial. And this story per the Hill this week, it says Harrison Ford, the only Harrison Ford, don't he fucking wish. He wish. You wish you was Harrison Ford. Harrison Floyd. Harrison Floyd. The only Trump defendant not out on bail was finally granted a bond in Georgia over the Georgia election case. Now look at Harrison Floyd. Harrison is an interesting cat. Harrison, before being caught up in this Trump RICO case, again, he is one of Trump's 18 co-defendants. Harrison had got into some trouble here in Maryland. What happened to him in Maryland, Kim? Oh, he thought he was super nigga. Let me tell you about this motherfucker. So, per the federal investigation of Donald Trump and his participation in the January 6th insurrection, FBI agents came to Harrison's house to try to serve him with a subpoena. And in true form, in true Negro who has been kicking it with white folks a little too much, Harrison allegedly attacked two FBI agents when they attempted to serve him with a subpoena, with the order to appear before a federal grand jury to testify about what he knew, when he knew, etc. What the feds allege is that he did some fucking MMA shit because he's like an MMA trained fighter per him, and that he attacked two FBI agents. Now, I was deep in confusion when I heard that little new god of information, because I said, how the fuck is he still alive? How the fuck is he still alive? You Black and you think you could attack feds and live? Shit. Well, I guess he was hanging around his white friends a lot, because he did survive, and I don't even think they beat him in return. But anyway, so he's facing federal charges out of Maryland pertaining to that assault on FBI agents. That was the justification a Fulton County judge used to keep his Black ass in jail. But it only got a little bit more interesting than that, because again, out of everybody charged in Trump's RICO, he was the only one. Where was he? Being held in Fulton County jail ever since he turned himself in to face those RICO charges. And I was shocked, not shocked at all. But I said, wait a second. Oh, hold on. So part of the reason why when Harrison went before an arraignment judge, what he said was that, number one, he could not afford. Okay. Hold on. I'm getting ahead of myself. The rest of Trump's 18 co-defendants secured counsel before turning themselves in, right? So their attorneys were able to work out with the Fulton County prosecutors, Fonnie Willis and them's office. They were able to work out, secure, negotiate bonds in advance of them turning themselves in so they could get right the fuck out. Harrison didn't do that. He claimed in front of the judge that he could not afford the very high retainer required to secure counsel that could defend him for a RICO case, right? He said he did not want to put his family in that kind of debt. That would be an undue burden upon his family. But at the same time, Harrison did not qualify for a public defender. I can only assume he made too much money, right? Made too much money doing what? I'm not sure. He was the leader of the Black Voices for Trump. I guess not to be confused with Blacks for Trump, but they seemingly are the same Sambos. So that's why I have it Blacks for Trump, because Blacks for Trump, Black Voices for Trump, Coons for Trump, Sambos for Trump, whatever the fuck you want to call them, they all subscribe to the same silly nonsense. But this week, Harrison was able to secure a bond. Now, part of how he was able to secure a bond, and this is according to The Hill, is that a judge signed a $100,000 bond agreement for Harrison Floyd on Tuesday, which is 5 days after he was detained at the Fulton County Jail, right? It says Floyd was released a few hours after he reached a bail agreement. Okay. Now, part of the reason why he was able to come out in the first place is because there was an online fundraising campaign to try to get him proper counsel that could secure all of this for him, right? And again, he is accused of harassing and intimidating election worker Ruby Freeman, who was a Black woman. He was trying to coerce her and intimidate her to making false statements about the election operations, what happened on election day of 2020. According to The Hill, all this done under the guise of offering her help. The Black woman said, Ruby said, I don't need no help from no fucking Sambo like your ass. It said Floyd's bond amount is $25,000, which is more than the defendant's Trayanne Cootie. Remember the crazy looking sister who had that very deranged smile in her mugshot? So hold on. It says Floyd's bond amount is $25,000, which is more than defendants Trayanne Cootie and Stephen Lee, who were also charged similarly for their efforts to influence Miss Ruby Freeman and her daughter. He is charged with racketeering conspiracy to commit solicitation of false statements and also writing and influencing witnesses. Interesting. So he actually came out of jail this week and spoke to reporters. And what he said was very eye-opening and interesting. And I would like for us to hear from him. Now, hold on. Now, mind you, he sat in jail longer than everybody else. He had a higher bond than everybody else. Trump did not crack open his super PAC war chest, of which Trump himself has spent $40 million on his own defense. He didn't crack that shit open for Harrison Floyd, for one of his favorite African Americans. And anyway, hold on. Let me not get ahead of myself. I want you guys to hear this statement that Harrison Floyd gave to reporters this week after being released and finally granted a bond outside. This is him outside of the Fulton County Jail. Let's take a listen.
Yes. So first, I just want to give thanks to God, who's the head of my life, for keeping me safe while I was in there. Second, I want to thank my wife, who's been a tremendous support, and I want to thank everyone outside who's been praying for their well wishes, and especially for all the kind contributions to the legal fund. They're greatly appreciated. And last but not least, I would like to thank District Attorney Fannie Willis for giving me what we call in our community a Negro wake-up call, because she has reminded me that our country and the state of Georgia will not be able to be a righteous nation if we stand on pillars of corruption, racism, lying, and cheating. And when we are governed by men and women who are more concerned about things in the world rather than serving the citizens they're sworn to protect, we end up going into more and deeper darkness. So the only thing we can do is follow God and lead by example. And so I'm also announcing right now that I'm exploring running for a congressional seat in Georgia. I'm coming back here to get things right. Thank you.
He thanked Fron for giving him the quote Negro wake up call. Sir, I'm sorry. You trying to tell me at no point in your life did your white friends ever give you the Negro wake up call? I'm sorry. I do not believe that Harrison Floyd is big man in his 40s and this is his first Negro wake up call. What's the Negro wake up call? Well, first of all, it's funny in the context in which he used it. But basically, what the Negro wake up call is you cannot do what your white friends do and expect not to have consequences. If you think that your outcomes for doing the same shit that your white friends is doing is going to be the same as your white friends, And sir, it did not require for a black woman prosecutor, though I guess I like that it was her, but it did not require her to give you a Negro wake up call. But apparently he needed a Negro wake up call because he was out here attacking FBI agents, which on its face, shit happens, whatever. But the fact that he thought that he could is outstandingly incredible. So apparently, pop up the AJC thing if you could for me, Will. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution, not an outlet that I really find all that reputable, but I think coming from this story, they may have some of these facts likely correct. So hold on, let me pick it up here. So again, Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee signed the bond order on Tuesday afternoon, 5 days after Floyd turned himself in to be arrested at the Fulton County Judge. And the article goes on to say, it says, Chris Kachornoff, who is a Virginia-based attorney who filed paperwork on Monday representing Floyd in Georgia, said that he was contacted Tuesday by Fulton County District Attorney Fron Willis, by her office to try to arrange the bond, and claimed that his client was only given bond because the prosecutors, quote, didn't like the optics of Floyd remaining behind bars. What are those optics, Fron? Oh, that black men are punished more punitively by the criminal justice system. Those optics. Oh yes, that the only black man charged in all of this was doing harder time than say a Trump or Rudy Giuliani or even the other black person. If you could put the article up, Will, the Atlanta, do I not have the Atlanta Journal-Constitution piece up there? I may not have it. The attorney went on to say, it says, quote, she was just letting him rot there, said attorney Chris, multisyllabic last name. She told Harrison, hold on, shit. I just did something. Never mind. Okay, I might be done reading because I hit too many buttons. I'm not sure what I just did here. I don't want to continue. I want to cancel. I don't need to be translated. Okay, well, I just fucked this up. But the point of matter that piece is available for y'all to read. But the interesting thing is that Fron Willis was made aware and at least seemingly somewhat sensitive to the fact that she kept this black man elected to stay in jail longer than the rest of his co-defendants, sort of proving the point that the criminal injustice system absolutely deals more harshly with black folks, even those that are seemingly towards the bottom of a RICO conspiracy case where the former president of the United States and his, chief advisors, including former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani and former Congressperson Mark Meadows, where these white men get to dance the jig right out the jail cell. This brother was held up. And guess what? We won't shed a single tear for him at all. Because when you do clownery, according to this deep Baltimore prophetess, when you do clownery, the clown comes back to bite. And as you see there, Harrison Ford has not done his clownery, because now he talk about running for Congress. Jesus, all those Herschel Walker voters are probably going to rally behind him. To what, in whose congressional seat he's even preliminarily making a challenge for, I'm not exactly sure. But for him to say that it was a black woman prosecutor that pointed out the racism of the criminal justice system to him, to give him that Negro wake up call, ladies and gentlemen and gender nonconforming folks, I hope you find and see all of the humor in that. I hope that you are tickled by that. I hope that you have no sympathy for this man at all. I'm hoping Trump and all of his cronies get found guilty, black, white, and other. I don't feel bad for them, but I find it hilarious that the Blacks for Trump, the Black Voices for Trump leader, stayed his black ass in jail as Donald Trump raised at least 7 million from the release of his mugshot, and that this man Harrison Floyd was only able to secure counsel via an online crowdfunding exercise, right? And I believe the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that he raised over $250,000. $250,000. Jesus! All you got to do is be black for Trump. and the racist whites will break you off with $250,000 when Trump don't give a fuck. Wow. I don't know if that's good or bad. Wow. I don't really know what to say. But I'm going to leave it there. Oh, shout out to Enrique Tarrio, by the way, another one that proves that it does not pay to be the lone exceptional brown face, the Latino brown face, the Latino face amongst a sea of whites, because they looking at Enrique Tarrio. Who is he? The HNIC of the Proud Boys. Do those two titles go together? Enrique, the HNIC of the Proud Boys, like a big fucking goofy. Yeah, Enrique looking at more time than any of his other white co-defendants. And Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in town on January 6th. This motherfucker wasn't even around for January 6th, and they gonna give him more time. Sounds on brand for the American criminal injustice system, right? You could be right there with the whites, but if they catch up with your black ass, if they catch up with your brown ass, guess who's going to do more jail than any of the whites? Yo, dumbass. Anyway, that's the show, everybody. Let's call it a night. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Thank everybody for running the channel support. We appreciate it. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal at BIDWKB. Support your favorite mouthy black woman on YouTube. I certainly appreciate it. I really do. And like I said, please don't forget to subscribe to our comrades, Black Power Media. Big up Luke Mon Nation. Big up Revolutionary Blackout Network. Big up the Status Quo. Big up always to Kalechi Okafor. Say Your Mind podcast. Available on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Will, you got anything to tell the people before we depart? He's going to say no.
No, not that I can think of. Yeah, just hit the like, hit the share, send a donation, and tune in next week, kids.
Next week. Thank you, Will. Thank you so much, Will. Next week, I hope everybody has a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. Let's take the time to educate our folks at the barbecue about what Labor Day weekend is about. That the only reason we have a Labor Day acknowledgement is because of the organizing of working people. The only reason we have a 40-hour work week, which is, It is what it is, but they used to work motherfuckers 7 days a week, okay? They used to work 6 days a week. The only reason we have a 40-hour work week is because it was struggled for, it was fought for. The reason why we have holidays off, it was struggled for, it was fought for. The reason people have weekends off, it was struggled for, it was fought for. So Labor Day is a celebration of the working people movement of this country, and let us not forget that while we are barbecuing and turning up and doing XYZ. But please keep your hydration in mind. This weekend is going to be very hot in a lot of the places across these United States. So be hydrated. Don't leave your dog in the car. Don't leave your child in the car. And just do what you can. Put the sunscreen on, everybody. That goes for Black people too. Okay. Everybody, please wear your sunscreen, your FPF 30 and better. Please and thank you. Anyway, you guys, on behalf of Will and Molly, thank you all so much for coming out and checking out the show. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. See y'all later. Bye bye. Bye, y'all.